Okay, everyone, it's slightly after 3. I'd like to call our special meeting to order. And first, I'd like to extend a heap of gratitude and thanks to my fellow council members for being here today. I know it was a short notice. The topic we're going to discuss today, I think, is important enough that it dictated that we do this sooner rather than later and not wait until the regularly scheduled meeting on the 17th. So thank you all for being here. Mr. Miller, will you call the roll?
Matish Patel, James Reeves, Ashley Hoffberger,
Present.
Charles Baer,
Here.
Jason Nicholson,
Here.
Brad Mullinex,
Here.
Jennifer Brer,
Here.
Mary Hoxing,
Here.
David Baer. We have a quorum of 6.
Thank you, Philip. Was this meeting publicly noticed?
Mr. Chairman, this meeting was advertised in the Pensacola News Journal on January the 29th in the board's weekly meeting schedule.
Thank you. I'd like to move on to the public forum. I noticed there is one member of the public to speak, Mr. Ted Ent. And if anyone else would like to speak, if you would just take the time to sign up on the table next door.
Great, thank you, and thank you, board, for getting together on such a short notice to allow us an opportunity to talk to our community about this amazing opportunity of being recognized as the best beach in the United States by Condé Nast Traveler. I've had the good fortune to talk to a lot of people in our community about the value of this, but more importantly, the good fortune of experiencing this myself when I worked for a resort company in Tucson, Arizona. We won Best Destination Resort Spa 12 years in a row. And during that time period, we were able to leverage the value of that reward into an earth-shattering organization that is still considered one of the best resorts in the entire world. It boosted the entire economy of Tucson at one time in the early 1990s during a recession. And that success continued today to the point that a second company came to Tucson believing that Tucson might be the magic to success in destination health resorts. It boosted the pride not just of the community but of all the employees, and I would tell you that I've had a pretty illustrious career, and a lot of that was from the confidence that I gained from working for an organization that won that. So here's our opportunity. Our opportunity is to make sure that we get the exposure we need so people can come and experience our amazing beach, because we won this award not just because of our beach but because of the experience that people had when they came here. It's everybody who worked in a gas station, a boutique, a flower shop, our first responders, the Coast Guard that fly the helicopter up and down the beach and make people feel safe. That's why we won it. And if you read the article, you notice they said very little about our beach and more about our community, our culture, and our history. So I'll leave you with that. I know there's a great presentation for you all to hear today. If you have any questions after this meeting, feel free to call me. I'm pretty easy to find. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you, Ted. Coming up to our agenda item, wanted to set a little bit of a prep. You'll hear from Visit Pensacola and anyone else that you so choose to call on. I do appreciate, again, you taking the time. I know some of the background information and the media rationale came over late. I do know that Showcase was working last night and this morning to fill in some of the details that you might need to be aware of to give you a comprehensive understanding of the ad plan so you can make an informed decision. With that, I'd like to invite Nicole Stacy. Or
I'll kick it off.
Captain Gilliam.
You bet. Good afternoon. My name is Sterling Gilliam, and I'm honored to be the chairman of Visit Pensacola Incorporated. And we come to you today to request additional marketing resources to capitalize on Pensacola's recent selection as best beach in the United States by Condé Nast. It's a huge win for Pensacola, and our hospitality partners believe that we can leverage this selection to increase visitation and tourism spend in the remainder of the fiscal year. Ted mentioned it, but it's worth reading the actual citation, and I'm going to just take a couple of excerpts from it. Pensacola is so much more than its beach. Venture beyond its perpetually summery sands and discover a thriving arts and culture scene well worth its own full itinerary. Pensacola has a fully booked dance card of cultural programming to catch, including the Great Gulf Arts Festival, Mural Fest, and Pensacola Fufu Festival. Add on a revitalized nightlife scene plus a culinary landscape where you can tell the chefs are having fun, and you have the ingredients for a formidable Reader's Choice Awards winner. Our board discussed this proposal at length at our board meeting last Wednesday, and we voted unanimously to request an additional $500,000 to take advantage of this unique opportunity. I'm joined tonight by Nicole Stacy, who is the Vice President for Destination Development. Her and her marketing team will walk you through the details of this request. Nicole, over to you.
Well, this was Sterling's slide right here, so thank you very much for having us today. And as Sterling said, we are here to request the additional $500,000 for what we think is a great opportunity for all of Pensacola. I want to walk you through first a couple of the things that we are working on internally to bring awareness on all of the Visit Pensacola owned channels already. So beyond what this ask is doing, how can we incorporate it into our already existing marketing? So as you'll see on the screen, this is our website. We did purchase the license from Condé Nast within the Visit Pensacola budget. So Visit Pensacola now owns this license for 1 year. We are allowed to put it on all of our own channels and any of our marketing that we purchase and Condé Nast approves. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to share this license with our partners. You all can buy a license if you'd like, but we have created a partner badge that you all can use, and we encourage the community to share as well. This is our website. These are some of the social media graphics that we've created and are using. This is the partner badge that we created, and we encourage everyone in Escambia County to use it. As you can see, here's some examples for the standards. But this is a great opportunity for everyone beyond just Pensacola Beach to really showcase that Pensacola is the best beach in America, but I'd argue Pensacola is the best destination to visit in America. The campaign that we are presenting today is to recognize this new national award. It's to do marketing above and beyond our already approved and allocated marketing budget. It's to talk to a household income that we currently do not necessarily speak to, but it'll be in markets that we are already in. So we will have an overlap opportunity to not only hit the people that already come to Pensacola and love it, but a new audience who has that Condé Nast household income. This is the proposed budget and part of the plan that you all received. And again, I do apologize for some of the more meat and potatoes of the plan. What you received last week from Darren is this plan. What you received earlier this week is just the more of the information for it. So with that, I want to turn it over to Showcase so they can really kind of go over the plan, explain it to you at length, and then we're all here to answer any questions.
How do we advance the, just the down arrow? Yeah, okay.
Or the side arrow.
Okay, great. I'm gonna bring this down a little bit because I'm a shorty. I am Leslie Perino with the Showcase team. I have been dealing directly with Condé Nast, the publisher, on their opportunities. Condé Nast is not someone we typically advertise with. Their audience is a little bit out of our normal household income that we're targeting. It's an aspirational audience for us. So it's certainly the people that we want to come here. So it's a fantastic audience for us to reach. It just, when we're making our decisions, we're like, we gotta stick to our core and do a little bit of the reaching. So here's an opportunity for us to reach out to them because they have now endorsed us. So the things that we're looking at is an email campaign, and these are direct, dedicated emails. There will be 5 separate emails going to an audience of 30,000 apiece. This will cover the campaign time periods. We can do these anytime between when we start and the end of the budget year, which is when this will conclude. So that's the first part. That comes in at $28,495. The social amplification and social lead generation, those are campaigns served from the Condé Nast brand, and that's where the value comes in those. That's something we cannot do without them. So that is getting that very valuable third-party endorsement from Condé Nast. It's going to look like a editorial post, not an ad. So it's going to be sharing that article saying, here's what you need to know about the best beach in America. So if you know much about meta advertising, social advertising, there are different kinds of campaigns. So this is two separate campaigns. One is an amplification campaign. So that's trying to get that broad reach, trying to reach new audiences that are, fit the Condé Nast demographic. And then also a social lead generation. So that one, we are actually capturing names and emails that we can remarket to. So another very valuable resource. And then finally, there's a print ad opportunity with Visit Florida. There's a Visit Florida section that was already happening that we were able to get them to give us an extension. And so that will be in the May-June issue, and we would like to be a part of that. So that comes in at $59,504. Do you have any questions right now, or do you want to save them to the end? Okay, well then I will turn it over to,
I do have,
Yes,
the
yes.
emails that are going out, is that a Condé Nast email list, or where is that
correct.
mix of emails?
Yeah, it is a Condé Nast email list, and they will work with us on the targeting. So you will see later, we are targeting some specific cities. If we want to hit those cities again with those emails, we can do that. We can choose different cities. There's all kinds of things that we can do with that targeting.
And do they work with you on scheduling of other emails that might be going out from the same organization, so someone's not getting Pensacola beaches and then getting best downtowns?
That's a really good question. So I will definitely make sure that there's some exclusivity, or at least not overlap of audience. So, we wouldn't want to both be targeting Atlanta at the same time with similar messages.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm Leslie Ryan, also with the Showcase team. Before we move on, one thing, of course, Condé Nast had several other options that were all very expensive, and we evaluated all of them, and these are the 5 we're recommending so that we have additional dollars to use in channels that we know work, and things that we are already doing in all of our other efforts, but being able to incorporate this message to this audience, like they've mentioned, that we aren't currently talking to. So that includes digital display, native, and online video with over 8 million impressions, and that would be a mix of display, native, and 30% online video. Now, most of this is high upper funnel awareness messaging, but there is, in this piece, we are able to do some trackable metrics to be able to show that return on investment. One thing we're not currently doing, but these funds would allow us to do, is the Peacock pause screen. This is a perfect place for this message, and that's when you're watching streaming television and you pause on Peacock. There it is, our beautiful beach with this America's favorite beach, and we'd be able to use the seal there as well. I think I've skipped our Meta, which is very important. Meta and Facebook. This would be on our existing channels, but again, to those other audiences with this message as well. Leslie mentioned, but we're proposing focusing on Atlanta and Dallas. And in these markets, we obviously are already talking to these markets in our existing efforts, but we would layer in another connected TV buy with over 2 million impressions to a custom curated beach traveler audience segment. These would be buys with A&E, Disney and ESPN, Netflix, HBO Max, Warner Brothers, Paramount, Fox One. We'd also like to do a digital outdoor campaign. So how this works is it's just like we buy digital advertising programmatically, and we can very much identify specific areas within both the Atlanta and Dallas metro of higher income areas so that we're talking to the right people. Why do we pick Atlanta and Dallas? Oh, there's our budget one more time. We very much intentionally broke this out in about thirds. So not all of this are we recommending to go to Condé Nast. Some of it supporting our standard markets, digital efforts there, and then those focuses in Atlanta and Dallas. But why did we choose Atlanta and Dallas? We've spoken a lot about the different audience and this being a much more affluent audience than we're currently talking to. Atlanta and Dallas are ranked number 1 and 3 in our hotel revenue, ranked number 1 and 2 in the median household income. They are 2 of our top 5 origin markets that fluctuate some depending on the season, and the demographics closely mirror the Condé Nast readership. And the share of voice here, as you can imagine, in Atlanta and Dallas, we could spend $500,000 like that in just one of them doing one tactic. So we're trying, the more there's plenty of room for growth in those 2 areas. Finally, a little bit more on the Condé Nast Traveler. It's an affluent, experience-driven person, professionals with that discretionary income. Travel is a regular part of their life, and they're reading this, of course, for both planning and inspiration. Again, just for a little bit of data, their household income around $143, and our current visitors' income is $86. So I think we have hopefully driven home how important this traveler is to us, and we are not currently talking to them. So these dollars allow us that opportunity to get this very clear and important message in front of them. Any questions?
Any questions so far? Okay. Is that it?
I think, yes. That's
Okay.
it. Sorry, I think that's it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So I turn to my council members and ask, what are your questions, comments?
I have a question. How will we track, or how will we know if this investment was a success? What trackable metrics are there to know if the ROI is there?
Sure. I'm going to have Brian come up and speak to the trackable digital that we're able to buy. But I think one of the ways to show the return is, one, are hopeful that these readers will vote for Pensacola again as America's best beach. But two, that we will see an increase in our collections over the years as we track with our regular budget and hopes for an increase in the TDT collections.
I'm Brian McCall. I'm also with the Showcase team. I guess I'm the analytics guy. There are some limitations in this. This messaging is mostly top of the funnel, meaning it's awareness. We're trying to get this brand message out. One of the challenges we have working with Visit Pensacola, as opposed to being, a hotel chain or that kind of thing, is we don't have a book now button. There are several ways that we can measure who comes to the market. We can tag a certain percentage of our digital ads, depending on the channel, with some data tools that allow us to see how many people came to the market from how many people came to the market from a campaign or an origin market or whatever, and how they spent their money, how many broom nights, that kind of thing. There would be a percentage of this campaign in the digital space that would be that. It'd probably be about a quarter of the spend. It isn't all of it because it doesn't work on digital outdoor, it doesn't work on CTV, that kind of thing. But we can use that to extrapolate how the message performed. We can also come back and look at any lift from the markets that we target. Did we get more people from Dallas after this campaign run than before it ran? It's not precise. I can't come back and tell you that it generated, an exact number of $1 million in revenue or in room night, but we can judge fairly well how it performed relative to our other campaigns. Does that answer your question?
So you mentioned not being able to, there's not a book now button, but it is a clickable link and you are driving people to the Visit
absolutely,
Pensacola
absolutely.
website. How frequently do you get those updated numbers?
I mean, daily.
So when would you think that we would start seeing the higher volume traffic from these areas on the Visit Pensacola website?
Well, the first thing we would do is the media that we own, the emails that we can control, any links to us, to our website, we track immediately. So if any clicks came from those campaigns, we know immediately. And there, and again, what's the opportunity cost? Would those clicks have come from those markets if we hadn't done this campaign? There are formulas and there are algorithms that can look at that to try to judge what the lift was, but we would start seeing that immediately.
And then are you adding this badge to any of the marketing you already had in the works?
Yes. So where appropriate and where Condé Nast will approve, we have already gone ahead and added it in. So the first example I showed was a Garden and Gun ad. And then we just finished off a Convention South, which is a meetings ad. We just sent that off for approval. So yes, anything that's existing that makes sense and where is appropriate, we're absolutely including it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Ashley.
How quickly can you get this up and going?
As soon as Stefan gives us the money,
So you're ready to go?
we're ready to go.
Thank you.
So we were saving and looking forward. We've been pretty tight, just saying. We spend our money. Where is this going to hit us?
Stefan, correct me if I'm
Stefan?
wrong, but I'm looking at the marketing reserve, holding a balance of 3.5 million.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Chairman. Good afternoon, council members. Yes, sir, you are correct. That would be the pot of money that, if approved, this $500,000 marketing allocation would come out of the marketing reserve.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And what's the duration of this ad plan? When is,
This will go to September 30th.
so the current fiscal year?
Yes.
Okay. Any further questions, Jennifer?
No, not really. Thank you.
Mary? Brett?
Just a thought, I understand it's a great opportunity, but it does make me nervous if we don't know what success is. And if success is we get this, win it again another year, yeah, okay, that would be great, but it just seems to me like, it just makes me nervous for $500,000 if we don't know what a success is or not.
And I can appreciate that. I think it's also important for all of us to know, which I know you all do, the amount of hotels that we have coming online, the demand that not only Pensacola Beach, but downtown Pensacola is going to need to serve. So these additional dollars allow for us to invite more people to visit, to stay in our hotels, to eat in our restaurants, to go to the bars, to enjoy all of the experience that is Pensacola. So while some of it unfortunately is not trackable, I do think that we can leverage this to encourage a new traveler to come and spend more, potentially stay longer, and come back.
Nicole, do you know how much accommodations revenue would have to be created in order to replace a $500,000 TDT allocation?
I do not have that number on me, but I'm happy to work with the team to get it for you.
So if we're at 5%, I'm going to do the math real quick. For 5% to replace $500,000 in TDT, we'd have to create new and incremental $10 million in room revenue, accommodations revenue. I'm looking around at Stefan to check my math. I think 5% of $10 million is $500,000. We can get there pretty easily. So could it be that, and I didn't look at Jennifer, the math professor, could it be that you could look at the STAR report, a lagging STAR report, and identify those markets where you're advertising to see if we see room revenue lift in those markets that total $10,000 incrementally in the date range for the ad plan?
We can absolutely
Could
look
that
at
be
that.
a measure of success?
I think we can look at the STAR. I think we could look at key data, just to talk to our other accommodations. But yes.
Yeah. And Visit Pensacola still purchases the STAR report. The
Yes.
STAR Global report. Could you explain what that is for my fellow council members?
So I can explain that it helps us track with our hotel revenue and the lift and who's coming and how much is spending. Unfortunately, that is definitely Darren's lane. So I understand that it is a successful metric tool for us and for our advertising team and for our hoteliers, but that's about as far as the information I know.
I have a little bit of legacy knowledge about the STAR report, and for your benefit, it's this wildly ancestral report in which hoteliers provide their performance data to STAR Global, and they aggregate that data and report it back to the subscribers of this report, where they list the subject hotel, and then in an agnostic view, the competitive set and the competitive set can be defined as anything. It can also be built for a market, and in this case, for Visit Pensacola, I believe y'all subscribe to the Market STAR report, which combines the performance of all the hotels in a given market and analyzes that over a period of time and looks at those feeder markets. Brian?
Absolutely. I just wanted to point out as well, she mentioned Key Data. We also subscribe to the Visit Pensacola subscribes to the Key Data service, which essentially provides similar data for vacation rentals outside of the hotel space. So exactly, we can look at
How
all
often do
those
they
data.
update their information? STAR Global's a lagging report, 20 days lagging the month, as I recall.
Key Data is actually a little bit different. I can't, there is a lag to it. I don't know the exact days. One of the advantages that Key Data gives us is, over the STAR report, is it also has a look ahead. It looks at upcoming bookings rather than just reporting past bookings. So it's kind of a flowing thing, but the data is always there. It's instantaneous, but we have noticed you can look back about 30 days and it'll shift a little bit. So there's a 30 to 45 day attribution window on Key Data.
Great. Thanks, Brian. I would challenge Visit Pensacola to really break down the economic impact of the $500,000 allocation. You know, what we often talk about room nights, but that's the leading indicator that we look at, that room nights creates TDT. But what we're really looking at is the encompassing economic impact. What's the sales tax? How many jobs might $10 million in accommodations revenue create?
One of the things we would definitely look at in this campaign is another data tool that we have is Adara Impact. It's the one I mentioned earlier,
Right.
where we can tag digital ads, and then they use data partners in the travel space to give us reports on how those campaign performs in terms of room nights, room searches, and even hotel revenue, and daily rates and time spent in market. And one thing that I think would be very interesting to look at is, are those numbers higher? Are these travelers from that we reach through this Condé Nast outreach, are they spending more money? Are they staying here longer? And I would certainly expect those numbers to be higher. So that would certainly be a number we would want to look at as well.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. So Nicole, how much does Visit Pensacola get from the unified budget?
Our overall budget completely
Yes.
is 10 million.
How much?
10 million?
10 million, okay. And so none of those resources go to this segment of the population, the 143,000 odd people that we're trying to attract now?
Our current marketing plan does not address this household income, no.
Okay. It strikes me that Condé Nast, part of their marketing strategy is to identify places that will then turn around, buy their licensing, buy ads, things of that nature, because now they've got us advertising or wanting to advertise with them because of something their readers said about us, which sounds like the readers already know about us. I don't get the idea of spending $500,000 for this. I also, this has nothing to do with you, I don't like the way this came on our agenda. In past agendas, it said request amount. This is not. It was a marketing package. There's nothing to alert the public that there was a request. Unless they read down and saw the numbers, and they just assume, yeah, well, they're probably asking for money, but I didn't get that from this. So even up as recent as today, I was like, well, is there anything on there? Is there an actual request, or is it just a proposal? So I don't think the public had adequate notice about this. I'm not going to support it today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ashley, anything?
So you said that this marketing campaign essentially, we'll say, would start now and then would run through September?
Yes.
So, and I don't have this printed out, but was there a expectation of how many clicks, how many views that we would get based on the campaign spend for the social media?
So we did include, for the social media, we did not include that, but for everything else, we included the impressions.
Okay. Is there a way that we could work it where the board could go on and give, say, half now, and then at one of our future board meetings, we could visit and see if those parameters were met? And if so, then we could fund the second half?
Absolutely. I think that this is completely flexible. I think that any amount of money is going to allow us to talk to a new audience and to leverage this win. I think, obviously, the further we can go and the more we can purchase. But I think with additional dollars, we can get started and then we can report back. I will say the traveler, the lead time is 60 to 90 days. So I hesitate with that to come back in, let's say, June, because our year is over September 30th. So while we can buy things, as you know, for the county dollars, everything has to be closed and shut September 30th. So I just don't want us, I want us to be smart with the dollars as we're purchasing things.
So in your ideal world, if we, like Brad said, we want to see you show your work, if we wanted to see that and we wanted to see what the outcome of spending some of the money is, but still give you enough time to spend the remainder of the money, when do you think you would be ready to come back to the board and give us an update?
From a media perspective, May.
May? Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
If that is the kind of area we're going, for the print, because I think the Visit Florida magazine's probably, especially since that comes online, I hate that I'm going to say this, but when Palafox is done, I mean, if we're going to invite a bunch of people to Pensacola, it's not exactly the time to this side, and we're including Pensacola in this, right, in this rundown. So we need that finished before that one comes out. So, and that one's the one that's being held off right now?
Well, that's the one that we got the extension. It is under deadline. We've already passed the deadline, but I would like to say, you know, I hear you and I understand that we want Palafox done because we want it to be beautiful, but right now we're working every angle to just get people down to Palafox to support it. So I think it's twofold.
Okay, just saying this, though, that might not
Sure.
cause a second time down for people that are spending money to come here right now.
Okay.
Right? And so when we're looking at this, yes, it may bring them months, but it's not gonna, that's not the thing that brings a person back if this is where it is. I agree that we all need to be spending money down here and keep these guys alive. That's not even the question. But I think that's kind of on us. Personally, we're the one, especially me. You know, I mean, it's us that took this on. So, but that, and the point I'm trying to make here is you've already got an extension for the print. So that we probably need to pay. So when will the print go out? She said May.
Yeah.
So that's perfect timing, right? So that one probably needs to go. I mean, if we're looking at this and going to divvy up what now, waiting for metrics, that kind of thing, then I think that's probably the direction, is that first stuff up there on that top. Would you have a suggestion here? So if we did the 190, 150, 683 for that first stuff, I don't know that we need all of that right now, but we definitely need some of it. We need to be able to put the emblem on different things. That's which cost here. So you're only covered for you, but we were going to do a group.
No, so we purchased a license, but within this will all be Visit Pensacola assets. So the license will be on all of this. We did build it out into 3 different buckets. So if you decreased the amount given to us today, we would go back as a team and probably decrease these buckets as a collective so that we can still have the opportunity to do the digital, to do some of the Condé Nast, and to do some of the other things that we've listed.
And the print you would do, though? The magazine? You'd
We
go
would
forward with that?
suggest doing the print, yes.
Okay.
My feeling is that in marketing is that you have one opportunity to make a huge splash. And this is something so special for our city, and people are out there now planning for their summer vacations. So in my opinion, I think we should make the biggest possible splash that we can and get as many people here as starting to look at us. And this is like people that might decide to go to 30A and now might come over here, and they have a lot of money. They'll spend a lot of money. So I say go big.
Thank you.
Nicole, how far in advance are folks making their reservations? How far in advance?
60 to 90 days out.
60 to 90 days. So if you start advertising tomorrow and there were some allocations made to do such, really, we're hoping that the impact in reservation activity is going to be April.
May, yeah.
April, May.
April,
Yeah.
May. But then to get all those results back, that's why I hesitated a little bit. We can do it, absolutely, we'll be ready. And then we'll be ready for the fall because we know there's a need still for fall. But we would like to go ahead and allocate in place.
Okay, great. Thank you. Harry, Jennifer?
So just to be fair here,
Sure.
we hold people's feet to the high, we are not an easy board. I mean, we have really been harder and harder and harder as of late. And so normally stuff comes forward, you know, with, I mean, the things that our council member down there is asking for is not unheard for. I mean, we want all that.
Absolutely.
We want the count on what we're going to get in return. And we have been streamlining how much money people are getting first off because, and if you look around, that's kind of the temperament in the public right now, is to be really mindful that we do this. We're seeing a lot of people getting stronger and stronger with desires that we're sure of what we're spending money on. And obviously, this is not something we can be absolutely sure on. We get that. We're not. But I think that it would be fair, especially with the lack of the public's involvement. And I agree that I don't think this necessarily hit the public with knowledge of it. It said we were going to have a discussion about Condé Nast, right? Not necessarily that we were going to, you know, what exactly, until it was really just making its way around with us, I think, very recently. So if we did a part, I think that's a reasonable thing to do. Do part of it now, come back, do the rest of it for the rest of summer. You can have things ready to roll, and we can see that there's some metrics showing how our things are going. I think that's more our standard of how we've been doing things, and I don't think it's an unreasonable way to go. That's a consideration I have here. I think there's no doubt this is exciting. There's no doubt that we want to see this do well. But we do also have to be mindful because we have a lot of people come before us, and there's a lot of work to be done here that we need to be conscientious of. So, someone else, go for it. You want to talk?
If you have
Not really, I'm just blabbering.
Well, I see it as a unique opportunity because, it was mentioned, we're buying eyeballs. For most of my career in the hotel business, which originated on Pensacola Beach, actually it started in Orange Beach, I digress. I was there for 6 weeks and got shipped over to Pensacola Beach. We were hesitant to send people into Pensacola for a number of reasons, not the least of which is they couldn't get back to the beach during peak season without a protracted drive, an hour or 3. And, you know, I was never going to be the manager or the desk clerk for that matter that said, you should go visit the National Museum of Naval Aviation only to have them get hung up in traffic for 2 hours and come back really angry at me for having done that. That's been eliminated. That 6-lane bridge gets people from Pensacola Beach to downtown Pensacola with great efficiency. And so no longer in Pensacola Beach do we hesitate to send folks over to Pensacola or the museum or wherever. The sports facility on 9 Mile Road that we just allocated $25 million to turf. I think this is a unique opportunity for the city of Pensacola, and Escambia County, and I echo what Ms. Hoskins said, that in advertising, I think you got to make a big splash. And we're trying to tee up, Visit Pensacola is trying to tee up on behalf of Escambia County an advertising campaign that really gets the most out of this opportunity, attempts to get the most out of this opportunity. Certainly, I would envision that Visit Pensacola and Showcase could spend a lot more money and perhaps less, but I'm looking to you to confirm with us that this is the most rational plan you've developed today.
Per our board and Showcase and the research, yes, this is the most appropriate ask.
Okay. And I apologize for not being clear on my setting of the agenda, both city council members not being as clear as you would have liked to declare that we're having a discussion about funding. We know what they say about assuming, and I assume that any topic, generally speaking, is a discussion about funding in some degree. So that's all I have to say about that. Anyone else? Do we have a motion?
Anybody else? Well, I will. I make a motion that we provide half the funding now, the second half contingent upon a report in May. If you guys want to come to us earlier, I think we should entertain the idea of releasing those funds earlier. So if we get great feedback and people are clicking the links left and right, I think that we would love to go in and put more money towards it. But based on this, move forward with half of the funding and provide the other half based on an update report from Visit Pensacola.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion?
I was going to ask what the source was. Don't we have to identify a source as well, where it's going to come from?
I believe we did earlier. It would be from the marketing reserves, currently held at a balance of $3.513 million.
It probably needs to be in the motion, though.
I make a motion that, I would like to amend my motion. Make a motion that we provide half of the funding asked for from the marketing reserve dollars, and we provide that immediately, and then based on the report that we received from Visit Pensacola around May, that we would, if we're pleased with that report, move forward with funding the second half.
My second holds.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We have a motion, an amended motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion? Mr. Miller, I would call for the vote.
Ashley Hoffberger? Yes. Charles Baer?
No.
Jason Nicholson?
Yes.
Brad Mullinex?
Yes.
Jennifer Brayer?
Yes.
Mary Hoxie?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-1.
Thank you. Item number 6, thank you for your robust discussion and your time to be here today for the special meeting so that Visit Pensacola can get a good start, good running start at taking advantage and exploiting the opportunities that have been provided to us. We have no other business before the council today, so I would invite, starting with Mrs. Hoxie, do you have any closing remarks?
I would just like to say that I think we're all very, very lucky to live in Pensacola, and it's only going to get better from here.
Thanks. I think that also, I think that what Ashley said is absolutely true, that if you're seeing something earlier than that, come back earlier than that, right? I mean, we made it here today. We can do it again.
I'll be sure to put funding.
All right.
Glaring words. Funding
Yeah.
request.
Thank you.
Looking forward to seeing these pieces and seeing it out in the social media and knowing it's our city.
Madam Commissioner?
Thank you for being willing to work with us. I know that we've had community partners come in before, and if they don't get exactly what they ask for, it's not as good of a partnership. So thank you for being willing to work and help us to see exactly what we're turning out with this money. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Councilman Bear?
Yes, thank you. And I want to thank you for putting the presentation together and the funding amounts. It's just, same thing happened when I was on the PEDC. We'd have things come up that were not identified as funding items, and to me, that's just not adequate notification for the public. I'm hopeful that it does work out well and that we have some good metrics we can track in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. And I echo Mary's sentiment. It's a great time to live in Pensacola, y'all. I mean, who would have thunk that so many years ago, when we used to have battles of the bands on Pensacola Beach and, rock contest, that today we would be ranked Santa Rosa Island, in fact, is ranked number 1 and 2. So number 1's Pensacola Beach, number 2 is Navarre, and if you've read the poll, the next 3 are Hawaii. So, if you're planning your vacation in Nashville, Tennessee, and you want to go to the best beach in the U.S., you can go to Santa Rosa Island or you can go to Hawaii, is the way I see it. So we're in good company, I think.
I got to add something in. You said who would think it? I think those of us who live here.
Look,
We
I
always
love
knew it, okay?
I love the fact that we've
that's the truth.
We've
So,
married a quality of place with the Southern hospitality that keeps us all grounded here. We have a great community. We have great infrastructure. Our political spectrum is more logical than it has been in my experience, so thank you very much. So yay, Pensacola. It's good to be in Pensacola right now. Thank you, Visit Pensacola, for putting your presentation together. And if there are no further remarks, we are adjourned.